So our project is a combination of it's manually controlled, and there's a little bit of automation as well. So we use a PS4 controller to give the control signal to the drone. So the Raspberry Pi reads the controller inputs and then passes it on to the Arduino, which does the actual controlling of the individual motors. So we have buttons for stopping all the motors, one for starting all the motors, and one for resetting the Arduino in case something goes wrong. And the direction pad is used to increase the height, decrease the height, and turn the drone left or right. So once the drone, so there's a camera on the drone on the front. Once you see the target, after the user manually moves the drone around, it will activate the laser when the target is within the range of the laser.
So for image processing, we're detecting circles. Over here we have a target. So it can detect if it's a circle or not. We have a function that within parameters it decides, hey, there's a bunch of these gradients pointing at a certain center, so that must be a circle. And if we get enough circles in a group, we decide to keep those circles and throw away the rest, and that is what the target is. The biggest circle that we find should be the radius of the target, and the center should be really close. It usually ends up being really close to the center of the target. So after that, we know where the laser is pointing. It's usually in the same few pixels. So if we get it pointing really close to the center here, it decides to fire. Comparing the distance from the laser to the center to the full radius of the circle. Once it leaves half of the radius of the circle, it should stop firing. But while it's still in the center, it still goes. About right there, it quits. We'll go across again. Right.
Okay, so this is showing the how the camera is actually seeing the target. And as you can see here, you have quite a far distance between us and the target, and we have a few black circles which have been taking the average of those centers, and that gives us the white dot in the middle there is the average center, and then the white circle on the outside right here is the maximum radius that we obtained, and this red dot right there is where the laser is actually aiming. And then we will go ahead and move this forward. And as the drone moves forward, you can see that there are more and more of these circles being detected, until finally at the end we have very many of them being found, and all of them being averaged to create this white center of the target. And for the input that we are giving to the Arduino is over here. We find the circle, this one being the X position of the radius, the Y position of the radius, and the actual radius of the target. Then these next ones are what they say, the distance to the target that it calculated, the angle, and the vertical distance that it would need to move up and down to effectively hit the center of the target. So that's what's fed to the Arduino from the Raspberry Pi for flight control.